What's up, YouTube? This is 2 Raw 4 TV. Alright, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, the brother Robert Mason coming through once again with the donation to the channel via the PayPal. I saw your notes, and we know the history when it comes to the NBA. We know the history. We know that there are a lot of charlatans and frauds out there trying to push this anti-old school agenda, trying to perpetrate a fraud by pushing up these players up to date while skillful, trying to give these guys all-time credit for things that they shouldn't be getting. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Curry is not a top 10 player. I don't care what anybody says. He's not a top 10 player. Top 20, it's pushing it. I give him top 25. But top 10, Mount Rushmore, that's ridiculous. For a guy that has gotten 47% of his points off of a three-point shot. And you've had rules implemented to help a guy like that be productive, to be dominant. Whereas you had players like George Mikan and Wilt Chamberlain, where the NBA created rules to stop them and limit them. And I'm supposed to put this guy over them. And these guys today have been able to benefit off of free agency when they didn't have that during Wilt's time. No, I'm not doing that shit. So anyway, I haven't really been talking much about this season of Winning Time. Controversial miniseries seen on now called The Max, formerly HBO Max. And just have forgotten to really talk about it in videos. Last year I did, I think, a video for each episode. I think it was 10 different episodes. I can tell now by the pace of this series that this is going to be a long-term series. Like, if they get renewed, which I think they will, consistently, because I think the ratings are strong. I haven't looked it up, but I think the ratings are strong. At the glacial pace that they're going, this might be a 10-part series, because it seems like, the first season started in 1979, all right? Here we are in the second season, and we're still in 1981. So, this is going to be a series that's probably going to last a while. And I think that's good. I love the detail of this series. I love the detail. Now, look, is this series 100% factually accurate? I can't say that. There are some dramatic licenses that are being taken, obviously. And there's some smudging of facts done. For instance, in this latest episode, when they have Kareem asking for a trade or seeming to want to be traded to the Knicks, that actually occurred during the 81 offseason, not early in the 81-82 offseason. But Magic did briefly wanted to request a trade for the Lakers, as was documented in the last episode. So let me just do a brief overview, a brief review, I guess, or of this season so far. One thing I've noticed is that this season doesn't focus as much on Jerry Buss as the first season did. He seems to be more grounded, having his family around after the passing of his mother, who was played by Sally Field, who was absolutely, when she was younger, on my goddamn MILF list. But anyway, having his family around, and now having a woman in his life who, at this process, he seems, I think her name is Honey. He's getting ready to marry her, so he seems a lot more grounded than he did before. Jenny seems to have friction with everybody. She doesn't seem to have much of a social life on her depiction when it comes to the show, which I don't think is true at all in real life. They make her extremely business orientated, the way she's portrayed on the show. at that stage. I think that's very matter of fact, I think that's probably the most fraudulent part of this series is the way that Jenny is portrayed at this stage. She's portrayed as like some feminist, almost semi folk hero, like she's or a model of what a growing feminist woman in the 80s is about. I have a brain, I'm business orientated, I have a knack for this. When we look at the Lakers, since she's been principal owner, with the exception of that bubble title, they've missed the playoffs, 8 out of the last 10 years? But that gets glossed over because everybody want to shit on Michael Jordan about how terrible an owner he is. But give him LeBron, give him AD, give him Kyle Kuzma, give him the talent that the Lakers have had, and I guarantee you they would have won a lot more. They would have won some championships if Michael Jordan had that talent coming to his door, Russell Westbrook and others. And by the way, over the past 10 years, the Hornets have a higher win percentage overall than the Lakers. But anyway, I'm digressing. The way that they have Jenny portrayed so far is way off base. She was not as involved in the organization back then as they have her portrayed. Magic is not happy right now. And that's true. That was very true during the early part of the 81-82 season, or even going into the 81 season. He was not very happy. He was not being utilized very well in the offense. Because if you look at the offense, the way that they have it, it's sort of like an 80s version of Mike D'Antoni. It's get down the court as fast as possible, get to your spots, and try to shoot the ball within 7 to 8, 9 seconds. And if all BS fails, get it to Kareem. So, in this type of offense, remember, Norm Nixon was the point guard back then, not Magic. They shared ball handling duties, but Norm was technically their point guard. Magic's not a jump shooter. So Magic's not playing well in this system. Magic is better at that stage of his career with his jump shot not really solidified and no real outside shot outside of 17 feet. Magic is limited in his offense. He's not a shooter. Norm is a shooter, even though they're all struggling to a certain extent. But Magic wasn't. Magic was an improviser. Magic worked better on the fast break. Magic worked better feeding off other people, leading the charge. So this is why they were struggling. And Magic's struggling, so people are getting on him about that he's overpaid because he's getting paid $25 million over 25 years, an unprecedented deal at that time. Friction continues between him and Norm Nixon. Even though I do think that the friction between them has played up a little bit more than what it was, but it was there. But the thing that you really notice about this season is Paul Westhead. Paul Westhead has turned to a monster. He's egotistical. He's an intellectual narcissist. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else. He doesn't like his authority questioned at all, which is so ironic considering that in season 1, when Paul McKinney was still the head coach, it was Paul McKinney that was the egotist. And it was Paul Westhead that was like, man, can I, it was a totally opposite role how it is with him now and Pat Riley. You can see Pat Riley, the stress is getting to him. Pat is noticing more and more that Paul Westhead doesn't listen to him. He feels sort of betrayed because when Paul was in a situation where he needed a backup, he needed a guy that he could depend on. that knew the X's and O's of basketball to be by his side, Pat Riley was there. Now that everything is all good, he won a championship, his ego secured, well, his ego sated more, I should say. Now all of a sudden he don't need Pat Riley. But you can clearly see now, going after into episode 5 in season 2, that the writing's on the wall that Paul Westhead is going to be fired. You can already see it. You can see Jerry West wants him fired. You can see Bill Sharman, who was, I think, the president of the team at that time. They want him fired. Both of them want him fired. But Jerry Buss, who had already done that, changed coaches mid-season with McKinney and then Westhead, doesn't want to do the same thing. But the team is getting tired of Westhead. I think one of the pivotal scenes in episode 4 was when they're on the team bus and they're waiting on Magic, and Paul gets Coop to try to tell Magic to get on the team bus or we're going to leave him. And, he gets Coop and says, well, if you don't go, if you don't bring his ass back, you're going to have to, we're going to leave your ass too. Wait a minute, why don't you go out there and tell Magic this shit? Why are you putting Coop in this? You're putting Coop in this, and then you're trying to punish Coop if Coop doesn't do your bidding. Now this is what was sort of pissing me off about Paul Westhead. You're the coach of the team, but you're not their fucking king. He's power hungry. Yeah, you're the coach, you're the leader of the team, and I do believe that coaches today have had too much power taken away from them. But my goodness, man, like Pat Riley said, improvise a little bit. The system cannot be compromised. The system. Shut the fuck up, man. It's not working. Don't you think that not having your favorite player totally happy in this situation is affecting the team? And he's clearly not the same player due to the system. It's not working to Magic's strengths. Now, there's a difference between this and Phil Jackson, because the triangle, though it can be difficult to learn, the triangle instantly, well, I'm not going to say instantly, but the triangle showed after a trial and error session or trial and error period of time that it was helping other players be more productive. And it was helping the team not to have Mike hound the ball all the damn time. And it made Mike a better player, learning how to play off the ball better, off the ball more. And the Bulls hadn't won a championship before that. So that helped for them to buy into the triangle. But Paul Westhead, no, it wasn't working. They weren't playing the system when McKinney got sick. Paul Westhead was basically playing McKinney's system, which is a precursor to Showtime. So, overall, I applaud the series for accuracy. What else do I want to talk about? Magic got rid of that shady ass fucking agent that he had, and the representative, even though he screwed her. What else do I want to talk about? You see the introduction of Kurt Rambis in the series. I love the attention to detail too. I love the attention to detail that I'm seeing in this series. Have you noticed that Kareem's bald spot has gotten bigger since the beginning of season 1? So yeah, I love the attention to detail. By 82, I don't even know if Kareem was still rocking the fro. I'm trying to remember what year it was when it went from being that fro with the hole in the top of it to him having more of the cradle cap, before he went bald. I want to say it was about like 83, 84. But yeah, Kareem's hair really gonna start changing soon. Oh boy. Oh, another thing that is a big issue with in this season is it being leaked to the media about Magic's $25 million contract, which was unprecedented at that time. Unprecedented, and that's causing friction on the team. You know, and another thing that I don't think is being talked about enough is another thing that I remember causing friction on the team was that people thought that Magic was too big for his britches. You know what I mean? All the endorsements, the money. Maybe they'll touch on that later on in this season, season 2. But yeah, all in all, man, I really like this series. I think it's pretty accurate. There's a lot of, exaggerations. I have noticed that they've tamed down Jerry West's character. That's probably due to public pressure and Jerry West threatening a lawsuit. So they've tamed him down a little bit, not have him fly off the handle as much. So that's about it, man. But tell me what you guys think. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. They did do more of a backstory on Larry Bird. You see how, Bird's father. First of all, you see how poor his family was. You see how his father committed suicide. His father was a war veteran that was never a happy man, had a lot of nightmares about being on the trenches, serving on the front line. There's a lot of pain. And didn't really think much of himself when I read. Like, suffered from depression, kind of thought of himself as a failure. And if I remember correctly, in real life, I don't think they touched on this on the show. One of the reasons why the father committed suicide was that I think he found out that with his life insurance that he'd be more valuable to the family dead than alive. Ain't that fucked up? So that's partially why he did what he did. They showed how Bird was going to Indiana University, but it just wasn't for him. It was too large. It didn't fit in with him personality-wise. Bird was very, very shy. I think they're not portraying his shyness to the extent that what it was. It's almost to the point where sometimes I suspect Bird had Asperger's syndrome. To be honest with you, I always thought that Bird was on the spectrum of autism. If you look at Asperger's syndrome and the symptoms, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then they show how he, of course, decided to go to Indiana State University and the championship game and all of that with Magic, and how they also one time played on an all-star, all-state team or something like that, years before the Dream Team. But anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Tell me what you guys think.